how are you all? Laura here with Novice Garden, and welcome to this week's vlog. It's actually more like a 2-week vlog this time. I'll explain a little bit more about that later on in the video, but anyway, I hope you're all well. And this week we're going to be checking up on what's new in my new garden. We're going to be keeping an eye on my brand new baby seedlings in the greenhouse, and we're also going to be baking some delicious savoury scones. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, please do stick around. We're also going to be heading along to my parents' garden, which is just 5 minutes along the road, and getting a little look to see how things are looking in their garden, particularly at the beautiful new spring growth on their acers. Another thing we're going to be doing is actually a bit of a secret, so if you'd like to find out, then please do hang around. But it's very exciting. It's a brand new development. It might involve a new garden, another one, I know. So if that sounds exciting, then please stick around and let's go and see what's been happening. I started off my week with a beautiful sunny trip to my parents' garden to admire the gorgeous new spring growth on their acers. They have lots of lovely mature acers. Unfortunately, I don't know the names to them all. I did do a video a while ago. I'll link that here with some of the names of these acers. But my favourite is this orange one. Honestly, I cannot believe how gorgeous the spring growth is on it. I mean, they're all beautiful, but particularly I love the red one. I do know the name of that one. It's Acer Atropurpureum palmatum. But yeah, they are just so gorgeous. The spring growth is my favourite, along with the beautiful colour that they put on in autumn. Along with that, they have this stunning crabapple tree, which is just laden with these gorgeous pastel pink blooms. I think they're going to have a bumper crop of crab apples this year. I headed back to my own garden to work tirelessly on it. It's really been quite a challenge getting to grips with this garden. It's much more work than my old garden, and I'm enjoying it though. I've been really admiring the spring colour, which is just starting to really get going now. In these 2 urns, I've got a mixture of pansies and violas, and the daffodils are even still going. I mean, it's May. Another thing I've been loving is the colour combination between this acer and these lovely bluebells, which are just absolutely so delicate and beautiful. Here's another look at the bluebells from a different angle on that exactly the same border. They are just scattered all the way through this border, and they're just so gorgeous. It's not only my parents who have stunning acers. I've been overjoyed to watch things come into leaf, and one of the things that has recently gotten all of its leaves is this absolutely stunning acer. The leaves are so delicate, and I just love the kind of yellowy green just tinged with red towards the outer part of the leaf. It's been such a joy to watch all the plants come up in the garden this spring. I love these hostas, and one of the great things about having a pond is that I do indeed have frogs, and they seem to be keeping the slug population down, so my hostas don't have too much damage. The tulips have unfortunately started to go over now, but that's fine because that will make space for summer flowers. And I cannot believe how much growth this black lace elderflower has put on. It's huge compared to the last time I spoke to you. Now I have big plans for this border, but one of the things that I love that's in this border are these 2 apple trees, which are covered in beautiful little pink blooms. So I'm very, very excited to kind of anticipate our crop of apples this year. I can't wait to find out what kind they are. I just love this view of the garden, and it is framed so beautifully with the green backdrop of the woodland that backs our property. I'm so thrilled with it. It's lovely to have an evergreen backdrop as opposed to the houses that I looked onto in my previous property. Follow me now as we head down to the garden to the fish pond. We'll stop on the way to look at the berry beds, and they are just so abundant. I've had such a fantastic crop of rhubarb. I'm still enjoying it, and I hope it's going to keep going for a couple of more weeks. As well as that, we've got our gooseberry and our currants. I'm really excited to try both of them this year because I've never tried a gooseberry. Heading around to the fish pond, well, there's a story to tell you about that this week, guys. I noticed it was dropping in water and I was getting very worried. Now, I know that losing some water is normal, especially in the spring, summer months, but unfortunately I did discover that there was an overflow happening in the stream portion of the water feature, and that had just been because some of the stones had become lodged in one of the little passageways for the water to flow through it, and the water was backing up and overflowing into the stones that border the stream at the top. I've rectified it, and you'll be pleased to know that I've topped up the water with some safe dechlorinated water. How incredible is the new fern leaves that unfurl from the soil at this time of year? They just are like something from another planet. I love to watch them as they just kind of gracefully open into the summer garden. At every opportunity when I'm not out in the garden, I've been sowing seeds frantically to try and catch up. And one of the seeds I've been sowing are these absolutely gorgeous Scarlet Emperor runner beans, so black and glossy, and I'm excited to see what the runner beans are like. I've also been sowing these lovely little tiny lettuce seeds, and I've been germinating them inside, and I'll pop them in the greenhouse later. So another thing I've been doing this week, oh, sounds really echoey in here. Another thing I've been doing this week is getting the keys to our new holiday home, which is up in the East Nook of Fife, and it's so exciting because this is something that we have been planning for and waiting for about a year. It's brand new. I'm going to take you guys around in a second just to see a really quick tour, and the most exciting bit is that it comes with a new garden. So not only do I have one new garden to deal with, but I have another one up here as well. This is just a holiday home for us, so we're not going to be here all the time. So the garden landscaping of this property is going to be much more low maintenance. It's probably going to be a little bit more about like the styling of our patio and kind of how we can make it into like a really nice enjoyable space to use as a family. But anyway, I will take you guys along for that. I'll show you in a second. It is still a building site. Some of the houses are still getting built. Another really exciting thing is that I've applied for an allotment just behind where the garden is in our new house up here in the East Nook of Fife. They are not actually completed yet. They're still being built. Well, not built, you don't build an allotment. They're still being like put in, but when they are, I'm number 40 on the list, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get one. And then that means there's going to be a huge amount of content on the channel. So from the patio doors of where our new property is, you can see out into the garden here. So as I said, there's still machinery out there. We have got most of the garden is slabbed, but we do have an area at the back there for some landscaping, and it kind of comes around to the side here. And if you see that gate back there up in the top left-hand corner, that is going to be a future gate out into the allotments. Really quickly then guys, this is a quick overview of our brand new holiday home up here in the East Nook of Fife. We've got a lot of work to do to this to furnish it and get it up to kind of livable standards. Right now it is just an empty shell, but it is so nice and it smells like a brand new car in here. It's great. I'm really happy and excited that we finally got the keys to this. It's been kind of being built for a while now, so actually they have only just finished installing carpet today, so you can see we've got all the bobbly bits from where the carpet installers were doing their job basically. So yeah, anyway, I might have a few videos on the channel if anybody's interested in that, of us furnishing the new property. If you're not interested in that, of course you can just skip them. But yeah, we're gonna have some work to do on landscaping of the front and rear of the property in the gardens, and also furnishing the house, furnishing the entire house. Got a beautiful view out the front there, just onto the gorgeous rolling fields up here in the lovely sunny East Nook of Fife. So anyway, stay tuned if you guys would like to see some kind of more interior updates in this property. As I said, if not, you can feel free just to skip on and watch the garden content instead. Later in the week, unfortunately, that beautiful spring weather that we were having broke and the rain came, much to my fish's delight, I'm sure. And whenever the rain comes, I retreat either into my greenhouse to sow more seeds or into the kitchen to do a spot of baking. And what I've been baking this week, I hear you ask? These delicious savoury scones with pine nuts, rosemary from the garden and sharp cheddar cheese. They are gorgeous with butter on them or without. You have to make them. Here's the recipe, guys. First, if you have some fresh rosemary in your garden, go and grab some and give it a thorough wash before we take it inside and chop it up into a nice fine dice. Next, weigh out a rough handful of pine nuts. Honestly, my measurements here, guys, are not going to be precise, but about this amount of pine nuts looks to be about right. A good handful. Next, grate around 100 grams of a really good, sharp, mature cheddar. You want something that's crumbly and tangy. About this amount is what I used, which I estimated to be around about 100 grams. So I've got my chopped rosemary, my pine nuts and my grated cheddar all ready to go. Along with that, we're going to be using self-raising flour, butter, a little bit of cayenne pepper for a little kick, and some milk, and also a beaten egg to glaze the scones. Start off by measuring 225 grams of self-raising flour and sieve it into a large bowl. Then measure in 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a pinch of salt. You're then going to add your 55 grams of cubed chilled butter, and then you're going to start rubbing it between your fingers as I am now. You want to rub it together until all the flour combines with the butter and it creates almost like a fine breadcrumb consistency. Once you've got your fine breadcrumbs, it's time to add in all of our gorgeous savoury elements. So add in that cheddar, add in your pine nuts and your rosemary, And also, if you haven't done so already, make sure to add in that little pinch of cayenne pepper. It just really offsets the savouriness with a little bit of a tang. Now get your hands back in there and just thoroughly, evenly distribute everything throughout. Next up, what's going in is around 90 to 100 mils of regular milk. I'm using like a semi-skimmed version here. I don't know what you Americans would call that, maybe like a half fat, I'm not sure. You're then going to get your hands back in it again and just start to bring the mixture all together. Eventually what will happen is that when you are kind of smooshing it or patting it down, it's going to start to form a very kind of rough dough. You don't want to overwork it at this point, guys. Just knead it until it comes together and no more. Turn it out onto your clean work surface, pat it down into around about an inch thick, and then what I'm going to do, guys, here is just slice it as you would a pizza. I like these scones to be triangular because it doesn't waste any of the dough. I find that when you use like a scone or a biscuit cutter, if you're in America, what that tends to do is leaves you with surplus dough in the end, whereas this utilizes everything. Next up, transfer all your scones, again, or biscuits if you're in America, over to a pre-lined baking tray. Once you've got them all assembled, the last step is to crack an egg, give it a good beat, and then what we're going to do is we are going to then use like a little silicone brush just to glaze the scones with some of that lovely beaten egg mixture. Now, one thing that somebody did tell me, which honestly is such a good tip here, is try not to let lots of egg dribble down the side of your scones, because believe it or not, it actually does inhibit their rise a little bit. I don't know why, but I've just found that that is actually the case. So once you've glazed over all your scones, don't skip this step, by the way, because it is truly crucial for a lovely brown kind of golden topping. I'm going to sprinkle over just a touch more of that lovely cheddar just to add another savoury element to the top. Now these are going into a preheated oven, which has been preheated to, in my case, about 180 degrees Celsius. That's a fan oven as well. Enjoy this scone cam for a while. Look at these beauties rising and getting puffy and golden and so delicious. Honestly, can you smell them? Because I can smell them. After around about 12 to 15 minutes of baking, you should have something similar to this. Congrats! You made my gorgeous savoury scones. I'm going to slather them, of course, with lots more butter, but feel free to enjoy them warm, cold, with butter, without, with maybe some chutney on top or some cold meat, anything. All I know is you have to make them.
Oh my god. You have to make these.
Hey guys, hello. It's another new day in this vlog and I have COVID, which is just great. I've had a couple of days of feeling not so well, a little bit sorry for myself, and turns out I've got coronavirus again, so that's fun. So I'm glad to have some things in the house to keep me occupied while I'm doing some days of self-isolating, and one of those things is in here, my utility room, also known right now as my plant nursery. So I have got all manner of things in here. I've been germinating quite a lot of seeds indoors while it's still being below the temperatures that we are needing for doing it outside. But now I think the temperatures are getting warm enough outside to transfer everything over to the greenhouse, which I'll do this week at some point. But let's show you what's been happening with all those seeds that I was planting earlier in the vlog. So here's a look at all the kind of young plants that I've got in here right now. So we've got right here all my kind of tomatoes and chili plants, which are definitely getting big enough to go outside into the greenhouse now. You can actually just see my greenhouse if I show you the view from the kitchen. It is right here. So I'll be able to kind of keep an eye on them. In the sink, so every piece of available countertop is being used right now in this little utility room. In the sink I've got all my cosmos, so you can see like they're looking great. They are actually looking a bit leggy, so they could definitely do with being put out into the greenhouse, so I'm going to do that soon. But they all came up, which is great, including some which I've obviously accidentally dropped 2 seeds into, so that's amazing. We've got 1 courgette out of the 3 has germinated and looking pretty good. Now, one thing that is kind of funny that's happened with all of my compost is that these little mushrooms are coming up in it. I've googled it and it says that it's pretty normal with like the moist kind of environment that you're getting in seed compost. Here's a really kind of close-up look. It's actually hilarious. They don't do anything bad to the soil. They actually are a sign of good soil, so I'm not too bothered about it. Now these plant lids are so dirty. Please don't look too much at how dirty they are. I actually should have given them a much better wash. But anyway, in here again we've got like some little mushrooms, but we've also got basil on this side. You can see they've all come up really well. And on this side here, this is actually some of my little lettuce seedlings. And then over here in this container we have the sugar snap peas, which was the I can't remember, it was something spirit. Anyway, there's my sugar snaps. And if I move this chili, put that down here for now. In here, this is the runner beans and some more mushrooms. And we have nothing coming up with the nasturtiums yet, but they'll come. Nasturtiums are usually pretty reliable germinators, but we don't have anything there yet. So yeah, this is everything that we have going on with the seeds that we planted earlier in the vlog. So what I'm going to be doing is taking them down to the greenhouse because they're all getting about ready to go down there. So I stuck true to my word, guys, and I got all of my little baby plants and seedlings out into the greenhouse. And how are things doing? Well, they're doing really great. My beans at the back there are shooting for the sky, as are my peas. They're looking great. Got a great germination on them. Very thrilled with how my courgette plants are looking. They had full germination, so I have 3 courgettes. I think I'm going to give one of them to my mum. And my peppers and tomatoes are looking great. They're also at the stage where they could be getting repotted soon. I will be doing that in my next vlog, so I hope to see you there for that one. My cosmos are also looking fantastic. A little bit leggy, but I'm not too worried about that. Something that I'm not very thrilled about is the germination in this seed tray. Now, the basil on the left hand side, that's fantastic. Almost all of the cells germinated in that in the basil, but unfortunately I haven't got a single coriander yet, and in the lettuce section, which is the right 2 rows, only 3 germinated. But hey ho, there's still time. And I'm also still to see any growth with the parsley, which is on the left side of this green seed tray. Well guys, I'm going to finish up the vlog there today. What a pleasure it's been taking you around for the past sort of week or so, through illness and in good health. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I'm just sat here, well, stood in the greenhouse. sweating, as you can probably see. What started off as a really wet, cold week has ended up being gorgeous and warm, and all my chilies and tomatoes are behind me and they're just loving their life in the greenhouse, which is very exciting. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up there today. I hope to see you guys again next week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit the like and subscribe button and join me for some future vlogs. But anyway, I hope you're having a great start to spring in your garden, and I will see you next time. Bye.